teenager, young man and woman get pregnant, this is the 2-year plan. First 2 years are debt-free. You don't have to pay the government anything back. So she doesn't get to drag him into court, because in those 2 years, the boy has the option, or not an option, he has the demand of the co-man to then go to a trade school, which incentivizes the United States to do it, because we need more tradespeople. We don't have
absolute bullshit. You know what you just created? A free education program.
I was gonna say it's starting to get real.
that you don't need to tie to anything else. What Killer Mike should have did in that room is just said, "Hey, RFK, you know what you should do? You should just let everybody go to school for free." In conversation. That's my point, right?
But when you just blanketly go to a politician who's not Bernie Sanders and say, "Hey, give motherfuckers free school," they automatically socialism. Oh no, we can't just give shit away. That ain't how this shit work. Rise and grind, bitch. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Go out and get it. Get yourself in $30,000, $50,000, $120,000 in debt.
The reason why a lot of politicians respond that way to socialism is because they're fucking white. For me, there's no other way to explain it. Because here's the thing. When we begin talking about supremacy,
it's a red flag.
Because where's the line for mansplaining? Because I think that's a thing that's hard to, because it's like sometimes you're a man explaining some shit, like you're in a situation where it's your job to explain something. But I feel like men mansplain to other men, because I feel like I've been in situations where I'm getting mansplained to, and I know I've been in situations where I definitely was guilty of it. So I'm like, where's the line between explaining and mansplaining, and do men just have a bad habit of explaining shit like you're a fucking idiot when they don't need to? Or
I think all of those things overlap and intersect.
Yeah, okay.
But, right? Because I've had somebody, now I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm more receptive of a black woman telling me I'm mansplaining than a white woman. Let me explain to you why.
I already agreed, but I didn't even know why. But I was just like, yeah, that's correct.
Let me explain to you why. Because I believe that white women already have a perception that men overall, based upon their engagements with patriarchy, have this perception that they are above them. But when we talk about black men, it's this idea that I can utilize particular terminologies in order to invalidate your expertise, right? Because what I was talking about the relationship between feminism and womanism, and how feminism for its entire history has intercepted and tried to undermine womanism for as long as it's existed. So my conclusion was that feminism is white supremacy in a dress.
What's womanism?
Right? Womanism is the centering of black women's experiences in the world, and its ideas, concepts, and its goals are to create a harmony between humanity, nature, and the auxiliaries that come with that. Right. And I try to make sure that I'm very careful in that explanation. The reason being is because, one, I don't want to mansplain, but also two, I want to make sure that I validate and engage with the sisters from their viewpoint and not what it is that I think of it. Right. So womanism is basically centering the experiences of black women within the intersection between race and gender. Right. So at that intersection, how feminism intersects with womanism is that feminism has consistently used and engaged in white supremacy with black women in order to remove agency from black women, in order to, once again, support the movements of feminism. And it has gone back as far as history has gone. Right.
You got any modern kind of examples, or like things that you're seeing even now that kind of fall into that category? If not, then like old stuff. Yeah.
So when we even talk about the idea of intersectional feminism, intersectional feminism in my mind is a co-opted term from womanism.
Okay.
Because womanism inherently is intersectional, whereas feminism had to learn how to be intersectional, right? So this is where we start getting into things such as TERFs, or like I forget what the acronym TERF stands for, but I think it's trans exclusionary reactionary feminism or something.
Radical feminism, yeah.
Yes, trans exclusionary radical feminism, yes. And even with radical feminism, like radical feminism as it relates to white feminism, it's radical because it's reactionary to the patriarchy, right? So this is when I start telling men like, yo, most of the feminism that you've been taught has been radical reactionary feminism. It has not been a full scope of what feminism is, because your perception of feminism comes from men. It comes from men mansplaining to you what feminism is, right? Because within feminism as a ideology is the socioeconomic, political, and I forget what the third term is, but representation of women within a particular structure. Now, within that definition, you can tell that came from a white woman. You can tell, right? Because ultimately, when we go back to the Seneca Falls Convention, Black women were excluded from this. When we talk about suffrage, white women literally went to the white racists of the South and they said, if you give us voting rights, we will use our voting rights to usurp Black voting rights.
I mean, a lot of it historically seems like a lot of, again, I don't know if I think I struggle with definitions because I feel like what you're maybe calling feminism versus what somebody, because it's like, I always view a word as like, whatever somebody means when they say that is kind of what that word means to them and whatever that group of people is. So I think there's people who use the word feminism to describe what you're describing as womanism or XYZ, whatever. But to your point, there's definitely that like, my version of feminism is why don't I get to do white supremacy as much as men do kind of thing. And that's historically and even present. It's out there big time. So I agree with you on that.
Big facts. And with that being said, welcome everybody to Waving a Red Flag, the #1 relationship, dating, gangster grills, and non-quintessential mansplaining podcast in the entire motherfucking universe. The gang is back. We got me, your boy, Josh, Eddie, Alvin, and the good brother, Professor Odi. Ooh, baby, I like it raw. Gangster grills. Where you get your grill from, daddy? Paul Wall made it up. What the fuck ever. Johnny Dane, my nigga.
Yeah.
Johnny Dane. There we go. Already. Good people, how we doing tonight? What we talking about?
Yeah, whether or not feminism is or I mean, I definitely want to get into the Killer Mike thing that we was talking about before, but we can, whatever everybody else wants to do. But I
like the Killer Mike topic. I know Eddie and Odie definitely got a lot to say about it because I didn't see the comments, but I can pull up the video if need be.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Okay, wait a minute.
Also, the point of that whole dialogue was to say that somebody online was saying that I was mansplaining this entire thing, and I'm like, ma'am, am I mansplaining it because I'm a man? Am I mansplaining it because you're a white woman and I'm a Black man? Like, what is this? Because I did all this research before I started talking about it.
Yeah, that seems like it could have definitely just been I don't like what you're saying, so I'm going to pretend like it's a result of you being a man, but you're just being correctly critical.
It sounds like she was white.
She was.
Yeah.
I knew it. Like, we should really start playing games of guess that race.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's Breakfast Club.
We got
I can't.
We can do something else. We can. You know what I'm saying? Great value version of the same game. Like name that hairline, but for like, you can start including white hairlines in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a game show that we have here at WTRF Radio. Is name that hairline. It's one of our more popular segments.
Absolutely. Hold on, let me play this.
Pregnant as a teenager, young man and woman get pregnant. This is the 2-year plan. First 2 years are debt-free. You don't have to pay the government anything back. So she doesn't get to drag him into court and the court doesn't say you owe us money for investing in your child through food programs, through early Head Start programs. Because in those 2 years, the boy has the option, or not even the option, he has the demand of the co-man to then go to a trade school. You have to go to a trade school, which incentivizes the United States to do it because we need more tradespeople. We don't have enough carpenters, we don't have enough electricians, we don't have enough people building roads. In my community, the girls are going to college and graduating. They have no men to marry because the boys are not going to college in the same way. My teachers were married to a tradesman. My teacher, who we call doctor, her husband owned a locksmith company. Her husband was a carpenter, was a mechanic. So they had a good life. Their kids went to school right the same schools we went to. I think that the incentive to solving the child support problem and a part of solving our infrastructure problem is to incentivize young boys who have gotten a girl pregnant. You must now go through 2 years of trade school.
Well, wait a minute. So, okay, I like what you're saying.
Let me give you the rest of the answer first.
Okay, go ahead.
After that boy graduates, you get a further incentive if you and the girl marry. If you and the girl marry, we'll give you these incentives: zero finance home loans, something out of HUD besides an apartment with a leaky faucet and rats and roaches in it. But incentivize marriage. which then strengthens our community, the black community, and strengthens the greater community, because now you have more American marriages, you have people with stronger financial stability, and you have tradespeople married to women of education, and you begin to recreate communities like what Auburn Avenue was, what Edgewood was. I believe you could do this from the executive order, because the money that funnels down from the feds through the states to help mothers, then it can be attached, well, we're not only helping mothers, we're helping fathers too. If a boy gets a woman pregnant, not only does she receive TANF, I see your face, right? Good idea. If a woman receives TANF, she receives this, the boy now has a must. You're federally required now to go to trade school. And in those 2 years, what you put out on the other side is a person who's trained, a person who has an incentive to marry, and a person who becomes a taxpayer and not just a taker of tax.
Absolute bullshit.
Yeah, I was waiting for it. I knew he's gonna say it was
absolute bullshit. Yeah. It's the dumbest shit he's ever said. And I'm
he
not
said a lot of dumber shit than that.
I'm not anti-killer. No. This is especially dumb because because a lot of the stuff that he's saying, I at least see his lens. You know, like a lot of the stuff that he says in regards to, you know, his support of Brian Kemp and all this stuff. I see the lens in which he's doing it. You know, he's NRA young boy, so I get him like supporting the gun toting, you know, free market kind of capitalist kind of person because that's who Killer Mike is. But I understand that lens. This is ridiculous because research pretty consistently says that if you and let me start from the fact that I don't even think that you necessarily need marriage to be strengthened in order to build communities. That's one. Two, I don't necessarily think you need to incentivize people to have children. However, if you want to do that, you can start from the more proximal root cause of that situation and just do all of this stuff up front, right? Why don't you just strengthen community programs? Why don't you just strengthen schools? Why don't you just make higher education and trades programs lower cost and have a lower barrier for entry up front? What that will do is that will strengthen the base of all people, right? And if you strengthen the base of all of those people and you make all of those things more attainable, people get more money up front. They typically get money younger, which means historically, if you look at all the trends on that, they're going to be more likely to have children anyway, which is going to increase the tax base, which is ultimately what these people want. They just want a larger tax base. And they're ultimately going to be more likely to marry. Like the people that are opting into marriage now are the people that are more financially stable. So I have no idea why he has to tie all of this into this weird sort of, you know, conservative strengthen marriage and community and incentivize people to have babies kind of situation. It's anti all of the data in that situation. You give people better lives. You give people more opportunity. You break down those barriers. You break down those blockers to them getting those opportunities. All of that kind of falls into place naturally anyway. So everything that he's saying to anybody that's informed on those subjects is just sounds ridiculous. It's just absolutely wrong.
On first listen, like I was like, okay, I don't completely agree with the method behind what he's doing, but I like the fact that he had some answers to provide. Like say, we can do X, Y, and Z. This is how this could look. So at least we have like a jumping off board to say, well, I don't know about this, but I can meet you halfway here. And then how about this other idea? Because like you gave me an idea when you said, you know, niggas got to go to trade school. But on the second listen through, that was when I like heard him more, because I thought he really more so meant that if you went to a trade school, then you would be you would gain these incentives, but not like it's a requirement if you're a young boy.
And only if you get her pregnant. And only if you get her pregnant.
If you get her yeah, because that don't make sense. But I see where he's going. Like if we just kind of reel it back, so like I was saying, like we make programs available.
Yeah, because like most of my agreement with it is, I think he's like attempting to solve a problem pragmatically. I think there's some shit in it that doesn't work. Yeah. That needs like a bit of tweaking in order for it to not like incentivize the wrong thing. And I also think there's issues with the framing of it because it's coming from Killer Mike. And as you said, Killer Mike has a reputation as being like a pull yourself up by your bootstraps, black excellence via capitalism kind of guy, like free market kind of person. So people have an issue with him or like people in the circles that we're kind of moving in right now have an issue with him. So all of this is framed through that. But on paper, I like what he's attempting to solve. So like addressing the two things you just said. One, I don't think he's trying to incentivize having children. That's not what he articulated there. He's trying to incentivize marriages. Now I do think the issue is that he might be unintentionally doing that, but that's not what he's trying to do. That's not what he's explaining himself doing there. So the question, the biggest, like most valid point of what you said, Alvin, is that why don't we just put more money into like supporting women who are pregnant, supporting children, supporting households, the way most other developed nations do. You understand that people have to have children. The more that you invest in young families, the better outcomes you have for the children of those families that will become adults, etc. The thing is, America,
the better you invest in young people,
the better
you invest in children,
education, all of that.
What continue?
But people, America don't like shit like that. So what I view all of what Killer Mike is saying is, how do I sell this to a nation that fundamentally does not fuck with that shit? Because if they were, they would have done the shit already. So if we can go, here's a model where it's like, well, if this, then that, then you get this. Now, I don't think that this program is necessarily the exact thing, but that thinking of going, how can we fit Nordic model, like socialist progress solutions into the bullshit that we have is a pretty fucking good idea, I think.
Basically, how can I sell this to them?
How can I sell this to them? Yeah.
And I'm gonna yield the floor, but I do want to point out this one thing because I think this will color a lot of the conversation. When people say I want pragmatic solutions to what the United States will or will not do, I want people to understand that the clusterfuck that is the two largest market failures in the American economy right now, which are healthcare costs and higher education costs, basically started with fucking Reagan. Right, so
Reagan is the devil. I'm sorry.
Yes, like
what?
that meme where it's like that meme where like somebody posted where, you know, think of anything that you can think of in the modern context of America and how it got exacerbated, how it got started. A lot of the time it starts with fucking Reagan. So if you look at
Reaganomics,
but that holds true. Yeah, so that holds true. So when you look at education costs, there was a point where they were basically lockstep with income increases, right? When that stopped was Ronald Reagan's administration pulling a lot of federal government funds out of higher education, which meant that even in state schools, states can't deficit spend the way that the government can, which means that those state schools just had to raise tuition. And that basically started the arms race for increasing higher education costs across the United States. So when people say stuff like, oh, the United States, won't ever go for this kind of stuff, keep in mind that a lot of times what you're talking about is something that didn't start until 1986. Yes, you can change the American government's perception, right? Sometimes it takes a couple years, but you can 100% make that a thing again. So I don't think that you necessarily have to capitulate to the conservative elements of the country in order to make stuff happen. I think that we've been brainwashed to thinking that, despite the fact that relatively recently in American history, it was the exact opposite, man. Like I talked about that episode of Good Times where Thelma was going to go to the University of Chicago for like $700. You know what I mean? Like during Good Times. Yeah. So again, I yield the floor now, but I do want to color the conversation with that, because this whole pragmatism stuff is oversold because we've done it before.
So I do want to say that I don't believe that he was trying to incentivize having children either. I think how he was trying to frame it was that we can solve this problem of putting money into the government's pocket, which they already misuse in these programs, or they already remove funding from in these programs, and put it back into, once again, what seems to be a collectivistic dynamic, right? Because he said if, not when, if, right? If this person has this child, instead of forcing him into the child support system, what we could do is we could do X, Y, Z, and A, B, and C. We can give incentives to become what is basically a long-winded way to say a model citizen, right? But at the same time, a tax-paying citizen, right? But at the same time and of the same token, I firmly believe that putting these things together in this way still has to go through the process of, like Alvin was saying, an American government that believes that it's so far removed and so extremely bipartisan that meeting in the middle would be difficult in such a way where we cannot conceptualize that these things already existed, right? So it's not progressing, it's going back to a model that we knew already worked, right? And the issue, I feel like, in Killer Mike's delivery is that, once again, a lot of us as Black people come from conservative dynamics, right? We don't want to call it that because conservative, we align with like whiteness.
Now, Black people are very socially conservative in general.
Black people are very socially conservative, right? So at the same time and of the same token, I don't necessarily, like you said, Eddie, I don't necessarily disagree with the idea of having a solution, right? Because in a lot of different ways, that being able to build something that may not be perfect, but is an option, because he was also saying like either a dumb man or a come man. So I feel like a lot of times when it comes down to black men, especially young black men, we take a very punitive approach, right? Instead of a rehabilitative approach. So you're saying he has to go to trade school, he has to do this, he has to do that. Have you thought about the logistics or the, you know, the ecological barriers that may go into this person going into this trade school? So it's almost like it's a softer version of the probation program. If this person cannot get across the state or across the city in enough time to get or meet these demands, then what is the next step?
Yeah.
It's usually punitive.
No, and somebody
Right.
else made a very good point. I didn't get it when they said it, but they said, to your point, they were like, this is basically sharecropping, where you're essentially
Yeah.
forcing people who get somebody pregnant into like a work program that you have to go to this school to get this, like you're for, and we don't know whether or not the wages in those jobs are going to actually like meet their needs. So yeah, maybe he wanted to be a doctor. Now he like low key almost has to go this other route.
And that's the thing. It's like, I understand the idea of building a structure, and I get the idea of incentivizing being, once again, a model citizen. But going back to your point, Eddie, it's like, yo, it's not that the plan is perfect. It's something that will need to be tweaked. But similar to what Alvin is saying, is this evidence based, or is this something that is more so like, hey, this is ideological? We got to look at the data, right? Because I done had clients come into my agency and they came to me and they said, yo, I had to choose between coming to therapy and getting food. And I'm like, don't you ever do that shit again. Ever. Because it makes no sense. It's counterproductive, right? Because especially in Maslow's hierarchy, it's like, yo, if your physiological needs are not being met, it does not matter where you place this person, they will still underperform.
Damn, that's an interesting one, because that's a whole other conversation, because I got some curious thoughts on that, but continue though.
Oh yeah, it's basically like, so there was a poem that was going around. I forget what it's called. It's like, it's just a pencil, and it was outlining the teachers upset at me because I don't have a pencil.
Yes, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Lights are down in my house. I can't eat. My mother's going out every night to go get the money. My sister's crying. I don't have clean clothes, but you're hollering at me about a pencil.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same context. Like, are we really talking about solving a problem, or are we just presenting something to be sold so that we can continue to take a punitive approach when it doesn't work?
See, I guess part of what I'm looking at is like, and not back specifically on the Killer Mike thing, is like, one of the tweaks that it looks like could be made here, or that I think is maybe even implicit in what he already said, is this is on top of the child support system. So it's like, you can do what's already being done. The question is this thing added on top worse? Or at the very least, if it's neutral, then it's like, cool, well, this isn't causing any problems. If you go ahead, look, you can do the child support thing. That system is still there. But if you want, instead of that, the government will pay what would have been your child support, so that the mother is getting money, the child is getting money, the child is getting fed, school is taken care of, etc. During that time, you can go into an educational program, and on the other end of that, you can get a job, which is a sustainable model that doesn't require like a long term, that allows you to then generate income on your own. But if you don't want to do that, and you go, well, look, I don't want to do that. I want to be an artist. I want to be a doctor. I want to be whatever the fuck. Then you can do that the same way as you did before. And I think once you add that in, a lot of the issues that Alvin, for instance, you expressed, or that I've seen other people express, I don't quite see their merit.
Yeah. So, and then I mean, there are other issues.
There are, because I've got it.
I mean,
I saw other ones, and so
Yeah, there are plenty. But anyway, I mean, I think my next largest issue with it is, again, I think it's an ideological stance, because I know Killer Mike and I've seen speeches and all that kind of
You're
stuff.
not
And
wrong.
he's very Booker T. Washington, right? He's very I don't need professors, I need bricklayers kind of situations. Like, if society goes over, and we need to rebel, you guys need to learn how to fish. Like,
okay, I see what you mean. Because I was gonna say I'm a little Booker T too, but I feel like it's not one or the other.
It's not. No, but his Booker T is not only like that self-deterministic stance of we need our own and all that kind of stuff. It's very specifically like, you need to be a tradesperson rather
you shouldn't
than
be an
doing
intellectual or an academic or whatever, or a professional.
Yes, that's Killer Mike. That's Killer Mike's
Yeah,
spin
okay.
and lens of viewing all this. He's explicitly stated that, like, that's why he likes guns. That's why he's a pro gun person, because he's like, you need to have the ability to protect yourself. You need to have the ability to do all of this stuff yourself and all that.
Oh, it's all
because like if you
self-determinism thing, like being able to survive outside of a system.
yeah
Okay.
So
I also maybe don't disagree with that, but
yeah, I mean, you're talking to a guy that, again, you're talking to a guy that, like, I have two within arm's reach of me. I have a go bag with the
Not within arm's reach.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
I
not
have-
even the
I have-
rest
I
of
have
like
a-
walking reach. It's other everywhere else.
I have a go bag with and food rations in it. So like,
Okay, you ain't got to tell everybody about your.
so like, I'm not.
God
I
damn,
mean,
demonetization.
Okay.
yeah. So
Oh yeah, do we gotta
So-
bleep that? Okay, go ahead.
you probably should,
Yeah.
but you know, all I'm saying is that I understand where the desire to do that is. What I also don't do is I don't lord those particular habits on a large societal context. Like I don't make that other people's problem. And Killer Mike 100%, like, because if it was just about being better, model tax-paying citizens, why can't they do a nursing program?
I agree, but we know why.
Why can't they do a pre-accounting program, Killer Michael?
Okay, true, but
Why
there's
can't-
issues with that. Like the nursing one specifically, you have to whenever you're trying
Murderous Michael.
to murderous Michael. Yeah, whenever you're trying to do something like this, you have to figure out how to sell this to all of the stakeholders, or at least some. And getting men into nursing programs is fucking difficult because of sexism. They've tried it. And we need nurses. We need men in nursing.
Let's be clear. Let's be clear on this, right? Let's be clear on this. And I think that's also a misconception, right? It's hard to get niggas in trade schools too.
Is it?
Right?
But is it harder?
Yes.
Okay. Then getting them in
Yes.
nursing?
No, okay. What I'm saying is do something else. I don't want you to harp on the nursing example or whatever. But anyway, like let's say fucking education programs. Let's say they want to be teachers.
Okay,
Like
I'm with
whatever
Yeah.
you want to put into that slot.
Okay.
It's also hard to get men in trade schools now.
Yeah.
Trade school completion rates and admission rates for men, also especially black men, has plummeted, right?
That's why
But
he proposed this. That's
black-
part of what the implication is.
But what I'm saying is, like, you were kind of saying that the barrier is like they didn't want to necessarily do XYZ program. I'm saying they don't necessarily want to do trade school either. So if you're going to present it as an option, and I think we all agree that the mandatory nature of it is kind of weird, then why not just open it up to all things, right? Like that's my
two
point.
things, or the reason that I think it's firstly, I like 99% agree with you. So the only thing that I'm saying here is like, because I think that basically just falls into like a tweaking thing, which is like, how do we like open it up to everything? That's a tweak. Cool. We create a system where child support is replaced by government support and educational programs, whatever those may be, is kind of the thing that I'm sold by. Maybe it doesn't need to be trades. The reason that I think or the rationalizable, or whatever the fuck the word would be, reason for choosing trades is it more sellable to both the people who would be educated and the governmental bodies that would be passing this than other ones? Now, that might not be the case, but my thinking is that it would be, because federal funding towards education is going to be easier to sell if the economy specifically needs that group. Now, maybe there are other groups that are needed equally, but I know lots of programs like for migration, visas, education are all tied to what the economy needs. That's how most other developed nations do the same thing. When you're trying to get migrants in, you go, we need doctors, so we're going to give out 40,000 new visas to doctoral candidates, not to video game designers. But next year, maybe we do need video game designers, and then that changes. So I think tying this to the economy and saying, okay, it's trade school this year, it's computer tech next year, it's AI next year, whatever, makes sense. I think he was partially basing it off of, we can sell trades because we need trades.
There's no shortage of things that you could get like a 4-year degree in that the United States needs.
Okay.
The United States has a massive skill gap, right? You could do basically every type of engineering.
That's a tweak thing.
That's
a tweak thing.
You could do every type of that. However, here's the thing, right? If you're just saying like we need XYZ, and we're all saying that it may not definitively saying that, but if we all are saying that the mandatory nature of it, you know what you just created? A free education program.
I was gonna say it's starting to get real.
that you don't need to tie to anything else. Why don't you just, like, what Killer Mike should have did in that room is just said, "Hey, RFK, you know what you should do? You should just let everybody go to school for free." In conversation. That's my point, right?
That would
Hey, Robert Kennedy.
That would have deaded his whole argument too. But I mean, I totally agree with you. Like, we can just cut the fucking middleman out, but we have this nasty.
That's what I'm saying. Just fucking send people to school.
But we have a nasty. But like in America, like there, especially with the government, and then how the government is brainwashes people, probably with the whole start of Reaganomics and all that other shit with capitalism. But like, there's a really nasty sentiment behind behind socialism.
Yeah. They not finna do
actually
that shit.
providing resources to people who actually fucking need them. And it's not just a handout. No, if we help these people out, maybe we'll have less homeless people on the street. Maybe the streets can be a little clean. Maybe we can do actually more shit with more
Maybe the economy
more
won't tank every 4 fucking years.
Facts.
What genius is on the street that could be a fucking, who could cure?
That's Keynesian economics, man. That's Keynesian economics. It's you provide benefits, you keep taxes low, you control leakage, the economy expands. That's how fucking FDR saved the country. That's Keynesian economics. That's fucking 70 years of good shit.
But when you just blanketly go to a politician who's not Bernie Sanders and say, "Hey, give motherfuckers free school," they automatically socialism. Oh no, we can't just give shit away. That ain't how this shit work. Rise and grind, bitch. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Go out and get it. Get yourself in $30,000, $50,000, $120,000 in debt, and make $1 million with your degree after that.
And all of that shit comes from land. All of that shit comes from sharecropping. Like the entire system of the United States that exists, the entire economic system that exists in the United States right now is literally based upon sharecropping. It literally is, right? So think about it like this. You have black people and white people going into massive amounts of debt. Like, and I know that the numbers have changed because of inflation, but funding the United States American dream costs at the least, back when I researched it in like 2017, so I know the numbers have changed, $250,000 of debt, right? So you're already operating at a deficit. The reason why you operate at a deficit is because it's not an incentive. That's not incentivizing. You are now enforced to go continue to work in these spaces so that you can pay off this debt. If you cannot pay off this debt, what happens? Things are being seized. The government is able to come and take what belongs to you.
What are the consequences?
One of the consequences is shit will be seized. Your bank accounts will be whatever. Your property will be. The repo man coming, "Hey, my nigga, I need that back." And your shit gonna end up at a renter center. You dig what I'm saying? So the purpose of the United States economic system right at this moment in time is to continue to have an underclass that supports the rich. Like, that's literally how it works. And that's how it's designed to work. The reason why a lot of politicians respond that way to socialism is because they're fucking white. Like, for me, there's no other way to explain it. Because here's the thing. When we begin talking about supremacy, right? A lot of white folks, they believe that white supremacy is motherfuckers in clan roles. It's like, no, it's your ability to say that however it is that the way that you believe a system should work is the way that it does work. That's one. But also two, white privilege, a lot of white folks think, oh, I can just, no. White privilege is the ability for you to supersede everybody else's perception of how something should be implemented. Right. So when you go, and I agree with you, Josh, it's like, it's difficult. And that's the reason why I also agree with Eddie about this whole idea of selling it. Right. Because Alvin, what you're saying is completely correct. But you also have to understand on the other side of data, Americans, I'm sorry, this is the only way I can say it. Most Americans are fucking stupid. Most Americans are dumb. They're not
what
dumb.
You think the split is? Is it like 70-30 or?
Most
like
Americans cannot read. Most Americans cannot read or comprehend past the 6th grade reading level.
Damn, that's like 12.
No,
that ain't true. I feel like I definitely can.
That ain't true. I know plenty of niggas that can read better than 6th grade.
Yeah, but then the 6th graders, they can't even read it. So we not even comparing it right, you know?
Yeah, right, but here's the thing.
Because I can read way better than a 12-year-old. I'm just saying, me personally.
Crazy. But then we go back to, once again, Ronald Reagan, this whole idea of trickle-down economics. It's like, it allows the people at the top to continue to maintain and control how other things go so that they can continue to have socialism. It is fucking crazy because the people at the top operate in socialist ways. They just don't call it that. But it's definitely it's rich people socialism,
and it benefits this
handouts,
themselves.
low tax rates.
It's a little bit of a red flag. I give you that for sure.
I will say, as probably the hot take of this particular segment, is that I actually don't agree with free education. Right? What I agree with, and I'm also not opposed to say like means testing, but what I think that education costs should do is track with income, right? And right now it is not doing that. So there used to be a time where like you went in, you paid for your education or whatever. Like it wasn't ever free, but you paid for your education and you would get a job that would allow you to do that. Like that was when you heard the old school stories about people waiting tables to pay their way through school. There is no way humanly possible, especially for like our international listeners, for somebody to wait tables and pay their way for full Harvard tuition anymore.
no.
It's fucking impossible. It's
Hell
fucking impossible.
Not
Like,
without stripping, my nigga.
You can't even do it stripping and I tell people all the time, if I could earn a way to pay for 4 years of Harvard undergraduate tuition, that just means I wouldn't fucking be at Harvard, because that means I can pull in $250K from some other means, and I'm going to school to get that shit. I might as well not even be doing this shit.
Earn a doctorate. Fucking
Yeah,
so it's OnlyFans. That's why people do it. Why the fuck would you go to school? Like,
so it's like I don't even necessarily agree that you have to even go into a room with a RFK and say like free education, but providing the subsidies that we did in the past to allow it to remain in line with income is I think feasible, and I think that's the way it should be personally. And again, if you want to add some level of means testing to that so that like it slides a little bit different, so that like the fucking multi-millionaires liquid have to pay a little bit more, even if it's on the tax side, I'm also not opposed to that either. But the fact that we have this imbalance between income and debt ratio to go to higher education is where we get fucked up.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I totally agree. And that's actually not a red flag, but what is a red flag is this brand new card game that your boys have created. You know what I mean? Alvin, can you tell us a little bit more about said card game?
So there is a group of cards in Josh's hand, and it does constitute
he doing
a
Netflix
game.
audio descriptions of the fucking card game.
A
black man holds up a card
but
game with 52 cards.
Yes, there is a bearded black man in a hoodie holding up a card game doing Vanna White's like teams. But no, on a very limited basis, the boys that waving the red flag have put together a card game. It does have the feel of our ethos, our very essence, the way we kind of run the podcast, where you, preferably with a group of friends, I mean, I guess you could play it alone, it would be kind of weird, but preferably with a group of friends, you're going to pull some cards, it's going to have some questions, you're going to tell us whether or not this is a red flag, right? So we're going to demonstrate right here. Josh is going to pull us a big one.
Pause.
I was speaking on the size of the cards.
It's 2024. I try not to say pause, G, but like my face
I say it all the time. I think
that.
Hey man. Hey man, pause.
What did he say?
Hey yo,
You know.
give us a hard one, Joshua.
But Josh,
Give us a big old hard one.
Josh. Yeah, Josh, shuffle the cards, pull us a good one. We're gonna demonstrate how it's done, just so you guys can get the full effect of the game. Josh, what you got for us?
Okay, I don't know what the hell I was doing. I fake shuffled the shot of them cards. All right. Is it a red flag if they just got out of a relationship?
How long is just? Because yes.
I mean,
Yes.
like a week.
What are my intentions?
True. It could be a green flag if you're just trying to, have a little fun. Then I think it's probably
Precisely.
Oh, that's a big green flag.
If it's gonna be a mutually beneficial engagement between you and I, where we fucking fooling and having fun, and you ain't looking for nothing serious, I wouldn't call it a red flag or a green flag. I would call it some circumstance.
That's a tablecloth.
Oh, that nigga got that shit off on a date before. He got that shit off. Look at how he doing his fingers.
He's showing us the bottoms and shit for no reason.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, baby, you know what I'm saying? I'm with it like that shit. It's no problem.
You know what I'm saying? Shit. I want to call it a red flag or a green flag, baby. It's just circumstances. And we here right now enjoying this moment.
Because I think of you, because I definitely like being, in like a, liminal interstitial dick, you know what I'm saying? Like casual shift-based dick in between two solid occupations that a woman has works pretty well if that's what everybody's looking for. You know, she wants to make ends meet.
I gotta pause, man. I gotta pause because I don't know you a long time, Eddie, and you don't impress me that often anymore because I've heard your shtick like quite a while. That string of words you just put together was absolute fucking poetry, man. Like you need to fucking like.
That's what I said too. I was like,
that was fucking good. Like
you
that
need to
was
write that shit down.
I got a pen.
that was that whole segment.
I appreciate it. It
Was that
was,
off
it
the
was.
dome? Did you plan this? Did you and Josh
but I
redo
appreciate
this?
that. I gotta start doing for Sway.
And they go just.
Did you guys pin? Did you guys pin and
yeah,
tell?
he already knew what he was going.
Did Josh
Oh,
know? What was going
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I gave him the alley-oop.
I'm just saying what it is. You know what I mean? That has been. I put it on my resume actually. Yeah. Interim dick administrator is what I've been. Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
Ida B. Wells.
Yeah. But I do want to say, Edward, do we still have cards in stock because this is limited?
So we sold out, and we're now fulfilling like new orders from here. So those of you who got the initial order, y'all's are already being delivered. Some have already landed. Y'all will be continuing to get those over the next week. Those of you who are buying from here forward will be getting from the next batch. But they can be pre-ordered. Put in your orders now. We're selling them.
Link in the description. Always be plugging. Always be plugging. Always be plugging.
Always be plugging. ABC, my nigga, always be closing. But yeah, I like ABP too. Always be plugging. Y'all want to talk about something light, funny, more serious? Prison abolition, maybe?
Yeah. Some fun popcorn stuff. Yeah.
Just a fun, lighthearted topic.
Podcast stuff.
You know?
Just a fun.
Dick jokes.
Okay. All right, got one. AirBnB, snitches on cheater.
Ooh.
Did y'all see this one?
That's a dirty way to go out. I feel like that's got to be illegal, right?
Bro, like, I don't think it's illegal. Well, it kind of got to be because he did sue.
Yeah, it's a violation.
It might be against the terms and conditions. It might be like
that's
civil.
laws.
Yeah.
Terms and conditions ain't laws.
Then why they write them for?
It's guidelines.
No, it's a legal contract. What you mean? That's
Like
what
a violation of the terms
That's
and
why you
conditions
signed.
that you agreed to, therefore making it a binding contract. But they did not agree to terms and conditions that she would not be able to use images or his likeness and send it to his wife. Though. Those were not in the terms and conditions. So
jail.
You don't go to jail for breach of contract. You don't go to jail for breach of contract.
Then
and also,
I don't know.
Following those
death penalty.
Yeah, following those exact things are not laws. It's breach of contract. So, but you don't go to jail for that.
Okay. Well, yeah, she should get sued for sure.
Yeah, I mean, but like, I was like, damn, that's kind of fucked up. But at the same time, she did kind of help her sister out.
But that's not your.
That's not your place. I get it.
That's
but
not your job.
Yeah, I know you don't want to know if that happens.
True. No, but no.
For you. But I'm just saying, like, I don't. The fucking like chart, like the what do you call it? The fees that she was upset that he didn't pay are absolutely fucking ridiculous. And that's why I was just completely like, oh, fuck her. Like, I'm riding with Buddy. Because I wouldn't pay them damn fees either. And if you gonna send some personal shit to fuck up my home to be petty because I wouldn't pay your bullshit fees.
Rocks and windows, pay for that. How about them fees?
Rocks and windows.
Rocks and windows is crazy. I don't know, man. I think I might be the odd one out. Because for me, it's like, yo. So, I'm not going to say that you, quote unquote, shouldn't be cheating. But at the same time, another same token, motherfucker, when you cheat, there's always a risk that you're going to get caught.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
You feel what I'm saying? So it's like,
big facts.
If you're going to cheat smart. Like, if you're going to fail forward, dickhead.
Cheat bigger. Like, I feel you.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, do some shit that's going, you feel me? Like,
get a second wife, flip that, and then, okay, I see. Generational wealth.
Or Keynesian economics with the cheating. I feel it.
Yeah. You got to put the trick and trickle down economics. I see what you're working with. Yeah.
Ooh, yes. Yes, okay. My brother.
Because the thing about it is, it's like this here, man.
Get political.
So, if you're going to cheat, for real, be about your shit in such a way where you running your shit on a tight ship, right? So I'm gonna keep it $150 because
what type of therapy is this, bro?
What does that mean? Well, this nigga just turned into a straight up pimp. If he gonna cheat, if he gonna do it,
wait, you gotta explain this because you're talking wild now. In my therapeutic, I don't know. Maybe you were mansplaining to this white lady. Sorry, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
If you're gonna cheat, run your shit on a tight ship, bro. Like, people say that women cheat better than men. No, women cheat smarter than men do.
I feel like they do cheat better, actually.
They cheat smarter, right? Because women don't cheat with their egos. They don't. They cheat to get that.
They cheat to
get that need. That's crazy, but yes, women cheat to get that need met, right? Men cheat with their egos. Men cheat so that they can prove to themselves that they are player enough to get away with it. If that's the case, in my mind, if I was in this situation, if I know that I'm renting, because Airbnb shows you who you're renting from. If I'm renting from a black woman, nigga, that's the cost to play the game, right? If she got these fees, hey, you signed this paper. When I say you signed this paper, you started cheating. You decided to play this devil's game. You started dancing with the devil. How the fuck you gonna get on the devil's dance floor and not expect your feet to get burned? Motherfucker, you need to put on some fireproof shoes. So in other words, if I'm cheating, I'm gonna make sure that every single one of my corners are covered so that nobody gets upset enough to then turn around and blow my spot up. That's just
if you're doing
dumb.
some illegal shit, you need to make sure that you don't have somebody who's got blackmail evidence on you. I don't disagree. Practically speaking.
There we go. Right? So if these fees are petty fees and I know I'm doing some petty shit, that's the cost of being petty.
Nah, see, here's the disagreement for me, because this is like a United States NSA counterterrorism argument. What I'm saying is there's one level of, in private life, if you do me dirty and I know certain dirt about you that you thought that I wouldn't have the gusto to reveal, then that's fair game, right? If you fucking, I don't know, if you steal money from me and I know that you're cheating on your girl and I tell your girl because you've done me dirty, that's fair game. The issue here is, what are the privacy rights of a person in a contract with Airbnb? That's the main point. Not whether or not he's right for cheating, not whether or not she's right for being petty. It's like, we live in a data-centric surveillance state type of place where if somebody has your data, if a company has your data, then what do they get to use that for? And I think I have your data because you rendered a service through me through the gig economy. What happens when I decide to use that to win a moral battle? That needs to be heavily fucking illegal. So that's what my argument is coming from. If this was a private situation, then I'd 100% agree with you. He just fucked up. Somebody called him. But this Airbnb, this is a data breach of private citizen data.
I think where you lose that fight I don't think you lose it morally, but I think where you lose it legally is that I'm almost certain that Airbnb absolves itself from any liability in that situation because they are a marketplace effectively, right? Like, that person is a private citizen listing their stuff via a listing service effectively. So they have probably absolved themselves from any sort of mechanism for protecting people's privacy.
That's almost certainly a gray. That's almost certainly a gray area because Airbnb and all of those gig economy platforms have gone through shit tons of litigation over the last 15 years. Uber, all of them, between what their responsibility is to the people that use them and what their responsibility is to employees.
And I'm pretty sure. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that all of them have successfully navigated it in a way that allows them to absolve themselves pretty well against those type of things.
Workers.
Specifically,
in multiple countries, they've had to.
This isn't for workers.
True.
This isn't for workers.
I'm drawing a parallel that that's in a similar vein, but for the data breach thing, I don't know.
And I agree with you from a worker perspective. I've been following those cases even in the States, but from strictly a what this person and there are really good breakdowns on how this is done. So if anybody haven't seen, say what is it, Gabby Bell's breakdown of Airbnb and the gig economy overall, she goes through a lot of this stuff. But they give you bare bones protections from the sense of they do background checks and stuff like that. But in terms of how a lot of this stuff happens when you actually get to there. They wash their hands of it. They're like, that's a private citizen. We're basically the go-between. We're the middleman.
I can believe that. Then
and lots of companies operate just like
then
that.
The primary point is just, and what my point always really was is just that's wrong. Like we have to.
And I agree with you. But I'm saying like you can't.
He might not have
they're
a
going to go
case.
to jail.
Point.
Yeah.
He might not have a case, but I think that he should.
Well, in the notes, it said that Airbnb asked them to go to arbitration, like settle it out of court, just basically like between themselves, because like there is a case there, like she did, like Eddie said, expose like a data breach, basically, like, you know what I'm saying. So there is something there, but I think that is definitely something that should be considered further on down the line with how we actually handle other people's data with surveillance and us being constantly recorded without our knowledge. And then if somebody just wants to be petty and then just send like your video of you to someone that you care about that might not have you in the best light, it's kind of like revenge porn.
That's what I was going to say.
Just because I have this video of your asshole on my
Yeah,
phone.
because if you think about like as you were talking, the first thing that came to my mind was doxing.
Yeah, it's very much like doxing. I mean, it's not as extreme as revenge porn, but it's very much the same kind of like what we're doing is we're going like, because you did a bad thing, this other like primary rule we have about what you can't do is now being reversed, and that's not how you want to organize a society. You don't want to go, oh, if you commit a heinous enough crime, then burden of proof no longer is relevant. That's not how you run a society. So yes, he cheated. Your right or like your responsibility to hold his data is not absolved because he's a piece of shit. So
I can agree to that.
Damn. Yeah, and she didn't. Yeah, and it ain't like she exposed him because like she was being a good
no,
person.
definitely not.
You know
You owe me money. I'm gonna fuck your life up. Yeah.
Because I'm,
That was definitely some hood politics shit.
There could be some exceptions. I think. I mean, like, because I kind of go like, if someone's a serial killer, I do think that not that they deserve, but we must still do due process. But like, if somebody was doing Airbnb and you found out from the cameras that they were like killing people or were a pedophile or some shit like that, then I think that will be a situation where you go, this trumps my obligation. Yeah, well, but point being,
you're
there's a line.
witnessing a crime. You're literally witnessing a
True.
crime.
Okay. Well, maybe it was something, you know.
But then infidelity is not a.
No, it's not.
Yeah, infidelity is not a crime.
It's infidelity or I think
Adultery.
It's a crime, but I don't think it is.
Yeah, no, they got rid of that with sodomy and all that other stuff. Like it's
I mean, sodomy
still illegal some places.
Fairly.
I think it was still illegal in Georgia, wasn't it?
Yeah, fairly recently. They only recently got rid of that as a law on the books.
It was some
But,
misdemeanors.
I think you could.
Yeah.
But
that'd have been gone.
Yeah. Contention upon how you like drew up a prenup or whatever, like potentially adultery could be like a breach of contract.
Yeah.
But again, like you're not going to jail for that.
Yeah.
Like that. Now it's a civil case still.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, shit like, you know, like Eddie was saying, like if you witness like, you know, an actual fucking
crime,
murder, you got it on your surveillance, like
Yeah.
a crime, like oh, absolutely, send that over to the police.
Yeah.
Snitch, bitch.
Or something that's I'm trying to think of something that's
Look, Odi about to
What?
goddamn. Do you really want
you
to?
can't
Prison
snitches get
abolitionist conversation.
He's a
Prison abolitionist.
okay. Okay, Odie, you being wild right now. So you got on here with the therapy, and then you gave us cheating advice. So you gotta.
What kind of murder?
What kind of murder we talking? Who's getting murdered? You got to give me the science behind
Did they deserve it?
So if somebody's getting murdered, what are you supposed to
Said
do?
the vagina. What just happened?
What?
No.
Oh, wow. I see what he was.
Okay.
Okay,
It's a build-up.
I see. All right.
I see. That's what she said.
Ooh.
The long game.
Yeah, yes.
I witnessed a crime. No.
Oh my god.
That pussy is deceased.
Oh my god. My curiosity killed her cat.
This man slaughtered is what I'm trying to tell you. Pussy, sarcophagus, make some introductions.
Oh wow. Oh my god. Hilarious.
Shit.
Hilarity ensued. We got time for another one.
Super short.
Let's see. What's a super short one that we could do?
Ooh.
I would say like prison abolition, but it was
Definitely not prison abolition.
I know, right? That's why I said I would say.
Yeah. You know what?
I would say.
Okay. I was gonna say
I didn't say like, well, let's do that.
the easiest way because we got like maybe 5 minutes that we can do before it's editing problem. I was gonna say the motherfucker bricked up at the sauna is probably like a
I
funny
was
one.
gonna say bull in the sauna.
Yeah.
Yo, all right, bet.
Because I actually did some research on this.
What? How did you do research on this?
I I hold on, don't.
Pornhub videos.
I know, right?
It's like,
It's my
I did
favorite.
research on how this plays out.
My
You
favorite.
know?
Oh shit, yeah. MILF in the sauna gets bent over the the mahogany.
Insane. Why is that a title?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
That is
I got a
hilarious.
It's
boner
descriptive.
while in a sauna with my girlfriend, and now she's angry and says I disrespected her culture. My girlfriend is from Finland, where sauna culture and nudity is way different than here in the States. She's still living with her parents, who are first-generation immigrants, and wanted a built-in sauna in their house, which is cool. I had personally never tried an authentic Finnish sauna until last night, and well, yeah, it didn't go that well. I'm not used to seeing the opposite sex naked in non-sexual situations, so well, I got a boner while we were doing the whole sauna thing. I noticed that she wasn't happy with it because she started getting passive aggressive, but today she opened up about it being really disrespectful towards her culture and that you can't just get a boner at a spa or a mixed sauna. I'm not really sure how to navigate this because to me it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but she thinks it is.
I think that's.
I mean, you can't. I mean, it's like okay.
Raise your hand if you've ever been able to control when your dick get hard. Just raise.
I mean,
Have I been able to control when
It depends on which direction, right? It depends on
my nigga?
to the left.
Yes.
I mean, direction has multiple meanings.
It depends on the distance.
That's the realest shit.
Yeah, it is.
I've heard all.
No, so
Wait,
like-
Tom,
no,
we
so
going
like-
is the elevator going up or down? Because I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but yeah, that's actually what I'm saying, right? Like, as far as like keeping it from going up when it wants to go up based on stimuli, like, you know, like I can't necessarily keep it down, but like if I say like, oh, like we finna go and like I concentrate on it, like I can make the elevator go up.
See, I can go the other.
Right?
I'm the other way around. I can make my shit go down like with relative like control. Yeah.
Like if it's going up, I can't necessarily make it go down, but I can
But you
definitely
can go
like
it
sit
up.
down and say like,
Damn,
okay,
our powers
I can say-
combined, we
I
are
can say
fucking
go
like a
time.
lever. Yeah. Okay.
Like,
That is
Yeah.
so nasty.
That was crazy as fuck.
That
Look,
is
man,
why
the question
our
got asked.
powers combined. If we put our dicks
Yeah.
together,
We put our-
imagine what we could
Our
do to the
penises
world.
combined with like that little Chinese cat, that little gold cat. They be doing that one.
Oh yeah.
This conversation just got so fucking wild.
Yeah. It's multicultural. It's
fortune.
multicultural, you know. The golden
Yeah,
dick.
Good fortune, absolutely.
Willy Wonka.
What's
Hell
your
yeah.
research, Edward? Because
So-
I'm
Yeah,
I wanna
very
know
fucking curious.
Okay, so I have a Finnish homegirl. As soon as I saw this, I asked her about it, and she had a homeboy who had done like a whole like journalistic project on like sauna culture, and was like, first of all, the idea that like saunas in general are like hyper non-sexual, like platonic environment is like low key not all the way. It's like an open secret that people be in there fucking like with anything. It's like with the club. It's like the there's no sex in the what's the phrase? There's no
Champagne
There's no
room.
sex in the
Champagne
champagne
room.
room, and it's like strippers be fucking. Sorry, am I frozen to y'all? By the way. Oh
Yeah.
Am I good now?
You
That's your
good
bad.
now.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Like strippers be fucking. Like that's a thing that happens. There's
They 100%.
there's a price for everything. So I think it's the same thing with the sauna, which is that people do fuck in there. Now in a private sauna, again based on my research, people 100% are fucking in there. It's like it's being in your own bathroom essentially. So
His
The
first-hand field
XVid's research has concluded that the private sauna
yeah,
is
I did a
where it goes
meta-analysis
It's where
of
it
all the
really goes
videos I
down.
collected together. I got, APA format, you know what I'm saying? American Pornography Association format. I did all that research. So,
Use condoms.
yeah. Jerking off with a condom is crazy. For protection. So,
My hands dirty.
yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point. You want to catch STDs
Nah,
back
I'm
from yourself. But I'm like, when it comes to the control thing, I think that you can excuse yourself. But also to me, it's a little bit weird. Like it's your girl. Like I don't know. I would feel some type of way about my girlfriend feeling any type of expressing negativity towards my like boner that I'm not like specifically trying to like put on her. I just be like, that's very weird energy to me.
I don't think it was about like disrespecting her culture per se.
Okay.
I don't think like the argument that she was making. I don't think
You
that's
don't think that's
what
what it really
about.
was? Okay.
No. I think she was just pissed off that for one she embarrassed the shit out of him, and then two,
Pissed off
like,
at what?
come on, now,
Pissed off at what though?
that she embarrassed her
That he embarrassed
Like
her?
she's with this guy.
He embarrassed her
What?
Hell yeah.
in front of the parents.
Oh, because the parents were there. Were the parents in that same room?
I think so.
I don't know. You know, I don't think he actually said the parents were in the sauna, but he just said the parents had it at their house and there was multiple people in there, multiple
it's
girls
other people. Yeah.
In a non-sexual environment.
Oh.
He didn't necessarily specify parents.
She was mad that
But just
he
the
embarrassed her.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
Okay, got you.
It wasn't about I don't think it was not necessarily like about a culture fucking thing. Like shit, it was like you said, people smashing the damn song.
Yeah.
Like, okay, but that is kind of weird though, man. You know what I mean? Because I'd be embarrassed. I would feel a certain type of way. I would probably be like a little bit shamed if I couldn't control if I had a semi in the sauna, I'd be cool.
Yeah.
But if I had a full blown rage,
if you can pass it off as resting mode, 100. It's like just stand by, man. Just stand by. It's asleep. Don't worry.
It's not an attack mode.
Yeah.
It's good.
You gotta wiggle it to wake it up.
No, but I think the other thing that's fucking me up is her argument, at least, because you're right. Maybe it was just he just embarrassed her, and because I think it would be reasonable if I'm getting bricked up, because I've been in like Japanese onsens and shit like that, and I've been in Finnish saunas now that I think about it. If I was bricked up in that context, I would be like, let me excuse myself, because you can see the event, you can see when shit start to get you feel your dick graze against your own leg, like, oh fuck, the elevator's going up, walk the fuck out, you know what I'm saying, or start thinking neutral thoughts, you know. And if you can't, you leave. But it's the same thing as like being, because there's so many situations where you're hard and you're like, cool, I need to hide this. It's a class presentation. You bricked up. You in the swimming pool. You bricked up. You hide it. Mm-hmm. And he didn't do that. This motherfucker's just sitting like with no towel just here with everybody else. That is a little bit weird. But for her to act like it's disrespect for him to be like aroused by non-sexual nudity when that's not part of his culture, I think that's silly. Because in most cultures, it's like, if there's titties, dicks, butts, people view that sexually. That's just not part of the culture.
You don't want to fuck something.
What I mean, I don't even disagree with that.
I think, Eddie, you make a valid point, right? Because when we talk about like the cultural thing, when we talk about the difference between like neo-European versus like the American Judeo-Christian code, a chastity-based system, versus other spaces in the world where nudity is just a fact of life. It's like you looking at it from a neurological perspective, but also a psychological and associative perspective. If you come from a culture where things are revealed this way to imply sexual engagement, there's not too much that you can do to control that association.
Not in one situation. Over time, maybe, but not here.
Over time, yes, because you have to learn a new association. But with most men from the West, when there is nudity, there is an implication that sexual intercourse will follow after.
Women too.
Now, this is fair, right? Now, what I will say is this. Eddie, I think what you're talking about is like the difference between etiquette and also like nonverbal consent almost. Because it's like, no, it's like, yo, didn't nobody ask you to see your dick, bro? And like your shit finna get rocked. So excuse yourself.
But they did ask to see his dick though, because they went to a mixed sauna.
He did.
His
dick. I mean, they didn't explicitly ask to see his dick.
I mean, what does ask to see a dick even mean? If you're going into a place where dicks are going to be, and that's part of the condition of your entry, then you're saying I am okay with seeing dicks, of course.
I can go into I go, if you go to the gym, right? You go to the locker room.
It's dicks.
You might fuck around and see some dicks. I didn't ask to see not now.
Okay, ask is the wrong word. But but hold on. If you were in a gym, you saw somebody's dick, you went to the fucking reception, and was like, hey, I saw a dick. I want to press charges. And then he's like, but you came, and then you're like, I didn't ask to see your dick. It's like, well, what the fuck are we talking about? Like, you consented to seeing his dick, is what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying. Right? And at the same time and of the same token, what it is that I'm applying that to is the sexual implication. So like if I'm going to a gym or I'm going to like a Korean sauna, like somewhere where I know I'm finna see some dicks flying around.
Yes, sir.
I know that there's not a
Let's go. I don't know. Your energy was hyped. The way you rattled off, like if I'm going here, we about to see dicks. I was like, I don't know. I got rowdy. Sorry. We roll it. I don't know.
So once again, it's like there is a. I feel like there is a line within yourself where you recognize that because this is not of your culture, if something begins to happen where you get into this area of like, I recognize that I'm being aroused, and it may not even be directly sexual, but parasexual, then you recognize that within that space is like the thing to do in your culture, the culture that you come from, is to either gain verbal consent or excuse yourself.
You're right.
Like I feel
he should have walked out. He 100% should have walked out. That was wild that he didn't walk out. I agree. Yeah.
But I also agree with Josh. It's like at this point you're being you are projecting cultural insensitivity onto me when I can definitely say the same about you. I do not come from a culture where titties is out all the time. I just don't. Right? And in my culture, if titties is out,
my hand is out too, goddammit. Pamela is out, goddammit.
You feel what I'm saying? Like we going to a nude beach and the fucking his titties out, goddammit, his dick's out too. Some of them dicks is gonna be a wreck. It is what it is, right? Or if we going to like some shit like hedonism, hedonism is a resort that is specifically sexual in nature. So you're gonna see naked motherfuckers out there. You dig what I'm saying? So it's like if I'm going to a Finnish sauna. And it's a mixed sauna, right? So like, there's a place in Atlanta. I can't remember what it's a Korean spa, but I can't remember what it's called.
Jeju.
Jeju. What? Cracking, right? But Jeju has two separate sides. There's the male side and there's the women's side. There are co-ed spaces, but in the co-ed spaces you have to be clothed. Right. So within that space, it's like the culture that I come from is not as not even sexually open. What am I trying to say? Anatomically liberal as the culture that you come from. So you're saying that I'm being insensitive to your culture, but you're also attempting to contextualize it as purely sexual from where it is that I'm coming from. And it may not have been purely sexual. It may have just been my body's response to a stimuli. And once again, I feel like because I'm a man, you're attempting to narrate my reality within your experience, and that's unfair.
And weaponize my Johnson in a non-lethal manner in which it was presented in said context. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm pretty sure all of us have been in 7th grade math class, dick on swole, goddamn, for no reason.
Just bricked up.
Yeah.
Bricked up for no goddamn reason.
What's going on? We trying to learn about algebra and shit? Like, what is happening right now?
Uncomfortable as hell.
Just ate
a belly full of 2% milk for some reason. Just ran a bunch of laps in gym. Yeah.
Can't do shit about it.
Big hard as hell.
For gastrointestinal failure.
Yeah.
Why the fuck am I drinking 2% milk and eating a patty melt at 11:30?
It's crazy, right? With like maximum testosterone at the same time. Like, what is going on? I woke up at like fucking 6:30 to get to school. What? Crazy.
Kids need it's all a part of the well-balanced meal. You know what I mean? Like the pyramid.
That's true.
You know,
you gotta have lots of.
You got your cow.
Cheese. I think that's a layer.
Yeah, dairy,
broccoli.
the cow. Yes, exactly. Protein. The synthetic meat.
Yep.
That they kind of serve, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh man, but the square pizzas joints?
I don't know. Did y'all ever have the shit where I don't know what this meat was, but they battered and fried what I think was beef?
Salisbury steak?
But it wasn't a Salisbury steak. It was like chicken fried steak or some shit.
Oh yeah, chicken fried. Yeah.
It was like a long hamburger patty, but battered and crumbed and fried. Ridiculous thing. I don't know. I've never had that before. Ooh, you know what used to slap? That banana and strawberry slime. I don't know what that shit was. I used to love that shit.
No, for real, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? That shit hit.
That must be some. That's some Atlanta shit. I ain't never had that. The fuck?
Yeah, it was. I don't know, Alan. Did you like it, or you just know what it is?
Yeah. No. I liked it.
Yeah, it was good.
And I didn't even eat school lunch.
Yeah. You was trading. He was trading shit from your bento box to get a tray of it.
No, what? Man, I had one homeboy who like only wanted to eat the school lunch, and his mom would like make him like bangers like every day, and I was like, yeah, my nigga, you can have this fucking school pizza, and I'll take whatever your mom made you.
Yo, With that, like, shoot, they mashed potatoes though. They were salted in the
never
mud.
got mashed
Yeah.
potatoes.
The mashed
You must have
potatoes.
went to a
with the
fancy
chicken
school.
fi- Oh,
Yeah.
hell, no.
Boy, I
Y'all
went
ain't
to
had mashed potatoes?
Chicago public school system. The mashed potatoes in the little thing where you pop it open and it be steamy as fuck here with the Salisbury steak. Oh God!
I
Wow.
don't think we had mashed potatoes. Yeah, I don't think we had that. We had mac and cheese. I think they did do collard greens at some point. We did a lot of fried chicken stuff. We did those like mozzarella sticks
We ain't
with
had
red
no
sauce.
collards.
Square pizza with the little tiny stupid meatballs on it. Yeah.
Look, Eddie. Nigga, you said we had.
We gotta
5
close.
minutes,
We gotta
and
close,
that
man.
was- and that was
I'm pissing
Oh yeah,
myself.
all right.
Sorry.
Well. With that being said, if you're around somebody who thinks Ronald Reagan was ultimately had everything figured out and was the savior of American economics, you're probably seeing a red flag. But if you're bricked up in an intersex sauna and you don't excuse yourself, it might be you that's waving a red flag. Ladies, gentlemen, everybody in between, outside, all around, it's been your boys at Waving the Red Flag podcast. It's Josh, it's Eddie, it's Alvin, it's Professor Odi. Thank you so much for coming through. Good people, do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, and click that notification bell. Also, check out our Patreon. Also, become a member where you can gain access into additional content. Join the lives.
Join the Discord.
Am I missing anything? Thank you so much. Join the Discord as well. We got a lot of stuff, you know what I'm saying? The podcast is growing. There's a lot of things to keep track of. But as always, thank y'all so much for tuning in each and every single week and checking with us. And Professor Odi, where can the good people find you at?
Good people, great people, God's people. You can find me at Professor_, at Professor.Odi on Instagram. You can also find me on YouTube at Professor.Odi. If you type into the search box, The Antidote, Professor Odi, I'll come up. I'm resuming season 3. I got a lot of good people coming through.
It's a good pod. It's a good pod.
So, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. So we talk about Black relationships. We talk about Black psychology. We talk about Black men, Black women, and everything in between. Yeah. So once again, my name is Professor Odi at Professor.Odi, wherever it is that you can find me. Instagram, Threads, TikTok, YouTube. Look me up, man. I'll see y'all there.
Follow that brother. And just one last plug: if you want to grab a deck of the Waving the Red Flag, or the fucking It's a Red Flag a card game.
It's a red flag card game.
Let me do that again. Let me just.
I done fucked you up. I don't know.
It's in my head now. It's in my head. Speaking of which, one last plug. If you want to grab the It's a Red Flag podcast game, you can grab that from our Shopify. Link is in the description right now. We've already sold out of the first batch. You can pre-order now, and so we'll send that out within the next few weeks if you want to have that at your next dinner party, because it's a fucking must-have.
Yes, and everybody who did purchase it, thank y'all for showing up and showing the fuck out. We sold out of the first batch like very fast, so thank y'all so much for supporting.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Goodbye.
It's a red flag.